I believe that relationships nowadays are not in a place where they are actually full of love and abundance. And I think this happens because although I don't really talk about religion, I don't really talk about God in this specific blog, because I want to just keep it for the things that I learned, the things that I know, the things that I can actually make conversation with other people with, professionals, right? Because I talk to professional people about these situations in these videos. I don't just go and get my knowledge from YouTube or other sources. I talk to professional people that have been doing this for years. And I believe that the reason why people are just having such a hard time with relationships um, is because they don't really have love for themselves. And a big part of the reason why that love is absent in somebody is it has a lot to do with God, or everything to do with God. And I think that as an individual, I was brought up Catholic. Um, then eventually I transitioned into Christianity, but that wasn't my own doing. Later on, even after years, it took years. It didn't happen overnight. This took a significant amount of time. Also, a lot of rhetoric back and forth with my best friend and his aunt and people that would bring me to the church, because I didn't really believe in God for a long time. I didn't believe in something that can just allow for such an evil world to take place. People are dying every day. Hundreds of thousands of people die every day, suffer poverty, homelessness. But it's things that we do to ourselves, right? And I believe that the absence of God, it's the reason why people overall are struggling in life. Um, because we forget that where we channel our energy is the universe, right? And God is the universe. God is actually, you know, everywhere and anywhere. And so he's omnipresent, he's outside time. Um, he defines the laws of gravity and physics and quantum mechanics. And so I believe that after so many years of not believing in God, every year I believe more in God. And I think every time I discuss God, it gives me a peace of mind, or it just voids it's an emptiness that I've had inside for a very long time. And many individuals now are struggling with trying to find peace. And if you can find peace within yourself as an individual, if you can find just that inner calmness, and I'm not saying through the process of meditation, there's a lot more rooted in a specific feeling. It's a feeling of being connected to something bigger than you that you can possibly understand. And when you connect to this thing, God, whatever it may be, I believe it's God. Most of you will call it physics or quantum mechanics or science, which I love to study, by the way. You begin to feel connected to something bigger than you, and you really can explain and understand what it is, and you just leave it up to faith. And when you do pray for that peace, and you do chase that calmness, right? The Stoics would probably call it, calmness, or whatever they may call it. I'm not sure how many of the Stoics were really into trying to find God. But I just believe that the fact that we've lost a connection with the divine, with the man upstairs, the creator of all things, until we really start to connect with God and we find that inner calmness or that stoicism through studying scripture, I think millions of people will continue to suffer in loneliness and emptiness, lack of love and thereof. And I think that love is supposed to be transcendent. And I think that when you love yourself and you can find peace within yourself and you can be alone with God and pray, that's powerful. And when you can do that, you can practice that every single time that you feel alone. And you understand there's something out there that was not going to let you dry if you believe. And you give it everything that you've got, that it can transcend and change your life for the better. And because a lot of us have lost that connection with God, I think that we're struggling at life and with love and with care and with compassion. And although I never thought I would talk about this in this blog, I think that it's important to discuss that there's an absence of God in everything now, and even in relationships. And if anything, the reason why relationships don't work is because there's a lack of love, there's a lack of God. And what I mean by lack of love is because there's no God involved, that there's no love, because God is love and love is God. And you can't have one without the other. So I believe that if you're going through something very dark and you don't understand it, and you're working really hard at trying to better your situation in your life and your relationship, but you're not putting God in any of those parameters, that you will continue to suffer. And as long as you're consistently working and seeking for truth, you will find it. But you have to have an open heart to be able to receive the knowledge that will come from these endeavors. The point I'm making here, guys and gals, is although I've struggled with the idea of accepting God for many years, because I believed in science and physics and quantum mechanics and other things, that I didn't believe in a creator. But your life has to change, your ideas have to change, and the way that you see God and the way that you love has to come from something bigger than you, because it's what gives you life. When you understand how to remain in your own peace of mind and calmness, and you can love yourself and you can transcend the love for yourself, then it will just transfer to other people, and people will love you for who you are, believe it or not, and you'll be extremely attractive to tons of other people, because you have a calmness, a stoic way of living life in direct proportion to God, that nothing can stop you, because not even death can stop you, or the fear of it, because death will eventually. You mean when you die, you can't live, right? So, but the fear of that. So, I think what I'm trying to say is, if you don't believe. If you don't know, go start reading the scripture. It'll change your life, and I think it'll actually help you transcend that love that you're looking for, whether it's by yourself, with your partner, or just in a relationship with God. And I think once you find that and you feel that emptiness with God, I think that your life will definitely change to significant parameters that you never thought can change. So go see God, guys. I think this is what hundreds of millions of you are missing, and why your relationships are failing, because you're not filling your voids with God and the word of wisdom, the light. Remember, He is the light of the world, and there's nothing more powerful than the light of the world. Because when you're in darkness, it's the light that follows. Have a good one, guys.